Unit 2, Lesson 1. Welcome to the Internet. In this lesson, students will be able to identify questions that they have about the Internet and how it works, and you'll also be experiencing the Internet Simulator on code.org, which we'll use to communicate information with a partner. If you're doing this as a makeup lesson at home, you may find a parent or somebody who could work with you. As a warm-up, one of the things I want you to think about is the fact that we've learned to represent images, text, and sound digitally. But we haven't discussed what we do with all this digital data. How do you see people sharing this kind of data in the real world? Who do they want to share it with? And how and why is it shared? Okay? Remember we had black and white images, color images. We did the flippy-do. We looked at sound, and we converted from binary to decimal and understood that it might not actually represent a numeric value, but a character on the keyboard. Now, so far this year, we've investigated how to represent information digitally, basically in binary, but that you have to know what the binary is referring to, the context, if you will. Today, we're going to investigate what it would take to communicate this information with others. This is the beginning of Unit 2, all about the Internet. Now, as our activity, as a prompt, I want you to answer each of these questions in your journal or notebook. Write down to you, what is the Internet? If you had to explain it to somebody, tell somebody, what is the Internet? Write down what you would tell them. And what questions do you have about how the Internet works? And when I say that, I want you to think more critically, not at the 10,000-foot level, but come down to about the 500-foot level. As an example, it's okay if you have a lot of questions about the Internet or aren't sure how it works. You're not alone. A lot of people think that you just plug in your computer, click on a Wi-Fi network, and boom, you're off on the Internet. But what I want you to think about and to see if you can answer is when you enter a web address in a browser and you hit enter, what happens? At some point, you'll see the web page in the browser. That's great. But what I want to know is what happens in between. How does your request to go somewhere bring that to you? What are all the steps? I want you to write down a series of things that you think or have heard happen right after you hit enter. What happens first, second, third, and so on? This is the question that I'm asking you. How does this work? Don't worry if you don't know all the pieces or even any of the pieces. Don't worry if you don't know how they all fit together. I want you to write down the things that you do know. If you don't know a step or you're fuzzy on some of the details or there's a gap, that is okay. Just write down the parts that you know. Now, watching this video, take about 5 minutes. In class, I'll give you about 5 minutes to write down this information. Think about it, because it might take you a minute or two to think about what you know and start writing. And then restart the video. Here, I'm not going to actually take 5 minutes. Did you write down your answers to these questions? Great. Now, in class, we'll be sharing out each of these questions within a group. I will be putting, if we're in class real time, I'll put you in groups. If you are in class virtually, we'll go to breakout rooms with 4 or 5 people. And I want you to talk about with the other people, what is the Internet and what questions do you have about how the Internet works? Those of you who maybe know more than others, share what you know or what you think you know. And then we'll come back. All right? So again, if you're all by yourself, there's nobody to share with, so you can skip over this. Now, we're going to go and watch this film, What is the Internet? And we're going to stop it at 1 minute and 30 seconds in. So, for your benefit, you could go to this video, or you could just wait to the end and watch the video in its entirety. Either way, your choice. Here, I'm not actually going to go out to the video right now because it won't work with the screen capture. In this unit, we're going to use a tool to understand how the Internet works, layer by layer. Just like when we talked about layers of abstraction in representing digital information, there are layers to the internet. For most people, the internet is totally abstract. They type something in and poof, things appear. They go digital, they go online shopping. They really don't know how all the handshaking happens, or how they get to, or how the actual steps are, where they select, they send in their order, and the order gets processed. The tool that we're going to use to start uncovering these layers so that we can delve below the abstraction, so we can uncover those details. This tool is called the Internet Simulator, and we're going to check it out. Now, to do this, you're going to join with a partner in the Internet Simulator on level 2 of lesson 1. So again, you want to go to unit 2, lesson 1, it's the activity, and it's level 2. There'll be 2 partners, okay? And you want to find your partner in the list to the right. If we're doing this virtually, I will be sending you to breakout rooms with partners. If we have an odd number of people, I will have to figure out how then those 3 people can actually work. Actually, you can't work with more than 1. So I may have to partner with somebody. If you're doing this on your own, then please see if maybe you can get a parent or somebody else to log in to be your other person, or at least go out and take a look at the Internet Simulator. So you'll join with the partner in the internet on level 2. You're going to look and find your partner in the list to the right and click the join button next to their name to create an outgoing connection request. Whoever does that first, that's great. Okay, the other person simply needs to click accept. From there, you're going to explore the internet. I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to explore the internet. You can type in your ASCII message, and then down here we'll show you the decimal values and the binary values. And here's your sent log message. Send a message, and then you just click send. Okay? I want you just to see how it works, what can you do with it, things like that. So play around with it, experiment with it. Again, if you're doing this on your own because you missed class, maybe reach out to somebody in the class that you know who could just spend 5-10 minutes with you kind of performing this activity so you are familiar with this tool prior to the next class. Now, how was it? Well, you would see Hannah and Danny. These are the 2 examples I have. Hannah and Danny, you're connected. You receive message and you send message. Down here in coding, you can look at just the ASCII, the decimal, or the binary, or you can look at all of them. Okay, you also have this tab over here to click on instructions. Questions, please see me or come to class. This tool really isn't that hard when you're actually using it. Now, how is the Internet Simulator to the internet, to the real internet, and how is it different? Pause the video and jot down how you think the simulator might be similar and how it might be different. Okay, you're back. Hopefully you paused it and you wrote down your thoughts. It's similar. You should have said that you can send information to another person, and it all comes back to 0s and 1s or 1s and 0s, or you could have said binary, something like that. Basically, all your messages are in binary. How is the simulator different? Well, you could only send text. Okay, you could only type in the text. It didn't let you type in the binary. And it took a couple of seconds to send a text instead of doing it instantly. It wasn't quite as fast as the real internet. Now, as a wrap up for this lesson, because it's very short, you are to finish watching the video, What is the Internet? If you already watched it and stopped it at 1:30, then go ahead and go back to it, start again, and finish watching the video. Okay? Now, as a wrap up, why learn about the internet and how it works? Vint Cerf, who is considered to be the father of the internet, or one of them, says you can't escape from contact with the internet. So why not get to know it? But you don't have to take Vint Cerf's word. Some of the largest issues facing society hinge on an understanding of how the internet functions. At the end of this unit, Unit 2, you will be doing a project that will focus on some societal issues. As you go through these lessons, you want to keep your ears and eyes open for how things work. Many of these issues are related to people taking advantage of the open protocols that make the internet function and present us with some very tricky dilemmas. We're going to learn about these protocols late in this unit. Now, for example, here are two major issues to think about and to consider as we move through this unit. Net neutrality. Net neutrality is a raging legal debate about the principle that the internet service providers should enable access to all content and applications regardless of the source and without favoring or blocking particular products or websites. So to be completely open, anybody can do anything. Kind of like anybody can take a piece of paper and write anything they want on it. Well, then there's also internet censorship, which is the attempt to control or suppress what can be accessed, published, or viewed on the internet by certain people. This can be used to protect people, okay? A lot of times when you first hear the word censorship, you think, oh, no censorship. You start thinking the Hermit Kingdom, North Korea, and they censor everything and people don't know the truth. Censorship can also be good, all right? We don't want to allow child pornography. When they say anybody can post anything on the internet, but what if somebody doesn't have permission to post it? Or what if it's something that's illegal? A child can't give permission. Okay, so to not allow access to child pornography, that's a good thing. That's a way things should be censored. At the same time, who makes the rules about what can and cannot be censored? And that then can limit free speech. So there are some things that we can all of us, well, I shouldn't say all, but 99% or maybe all law-abiding people, reasonable people, would consider okay to censor, if you will. But then there are an awful lot of topics that there is raging debate over whether you should be able to say it or not say it. For you, it's important for you to understand, to have an informed opinion. It helps to understand that you need to understand those technical underpinnings of how the internet works. What does it do? Finally, a major issue that our society faces is that far too people actually understand how the internet works. And in this unit, we're going to change that over the next few lessons for you and any of those people that you come into contact with. It's important before you can argue what something can and can't do, you need to understand what it really can or cannot do. Now, let's go build a network.